First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Mark and a second by Erica. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Do I not get to discuss this?
Oh, sure, you can, that's the minutes.
I thought that's what, oh, this is
The agenda.
I'm sorry.
What's your
I got
vote?
ahead. No, not on the agenda.
Okay, that did pass. The next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. We didn't get them till late. If y'all wish to approve, or if you wish to table till next meeting, that's y'all's option. So what's your motion?
Well, they're not right, so I think we need to table. The February 24th one says Alderman Middlecamp made a motion to table 9 months of the city financial reports in November, December 2025 and January 26 water and sewer financials, and then it says Alderman Middlecamp seconded the motion. And I can't do that, so, and did not, so.
Well, is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to table.
Got a motion to table from Jeremy. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Those are tabled. Next item on the agenda is the financial reports, and we are currently between financial officers and do not have them. So do I hear a motion to table?
I have a question. I thought you said that Mr. Raby provided the end of year through 2025.
Which is in here for the end of your budget, but that's, he didn't do the month by month financials.
Well, what was he doing this whole time?
Well, there's a host of things, and I'll be glad to discuss that with you if you'd like to in the office.
I guess so.
Any further or do I hear a motion?
Make a motion to table.
Got a motion to table, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, or motion by Mr. Middlecamp, a second by Jeremy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And those are tabled. Then there's the water and sewer financials, and that's the same situation. Do I hear a motion to table?
Make a motion to table.
Got a motion by Jeremy, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mark, any discussion?
Yes, why are those, that's a separate set of financials as compared to the regular thing?
She was working with the financial officer, and there were errors there that predated her working, and it has some problems with it that goes back to 2017, 18, that time frame. And there's much less wrong there. We should be able to get them straightened out pretty shortly when we get someone else in here.
Pretty shortly.
I would suspect if we get someone in where they have enough time to work for a month, they should have financials at the end of the month's work for both.
End of April?
It depends on when they come to work here. It's going to take them a couple of weeks to get it done.
Okay. I guess it is what it is. Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Those are tabled. Department reports. Fire department.
Y'all do get a copy of my report? Any questions, thoughts, concerns?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next is the police department.
You guys have stats and everything in front of you. You guys have any questions? Still got one out, injured, another one deployed, and another one resigned Friday. So, we're looking to fill that spot pretty quickly. So, we've advertised that spot, I believe yesterday morning, and I believe we have 6 applicants already, which is quite a few in one day. So, we expect a handful more to fill that spot. But other than that, that's all I got.
So how are the accidents, have we had any accidents since the stoplight went in?
I think there was one, and it was, I think Kim actually showed up on that one, accident down here at the intersection. She was just a passerby and helped out to make sure everyone was all right. But since the light now, I've been in contact with the company that's doing the light, and we knew as of Friday they were having a sensor issue, so the lights were still on a timer. However, yesterday and all day, I think all morning and then part of the afternoon, they were working on it, and then I watched it at 4 o'clock yesterday, 5 o'clock yesterday, and then today before I came over to watch the cycles. And it's clearly on a sensor now. So traffic seems to be flowing through there. I know it's spring break, so obviously there's probably a little less traffic than normal. People are on vacation. So, but today, just looking at it, watching it, it wasn't backed up to Wallace or Shores like it has been. It's just, at the worst I saw it, and that was a little after 5, it just started to crest that hill before it started to move again. So it's a lot better than it was, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, Monday and Tuesday, I think, will be the real test next week when everybody's back from spring break. But I've talked to the guy that was down there working on it, and there was an issue with it, so hopefully that's fixed. I know the complaints aren't as many. I'm not getting as many complaints now. So, and I don't know about the mayor's office. They're down.
That's good news. We want to make sure to optimize that light.
Yeah.
We might need to tweak it even differently, but
Yeah,
it sounds like we made a big jump with the sensor versus no sensors.
the sensors are what was needed more than anything. The timer just wasn't working.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked, but it was horrible. But now I think it's running a lot better. So we'll see. Like I said, next week will probably be the real test when everybody's back from spring break and back to the normal work, travel schedule, all that stuff. And we'll observe it and watch it. There was one thing that I noticed because when it was on that timer, I finally went down there and said, I'm just going to run it manually and see if I can't get this traffic going a little faster with a button. Every stoplight that I've ever seen has a switch that you can flip it to manual, and then there's a cord and a button, and you can rotate the lights. You can cycle them faster or longer or whatever. And when I went down there, opened up the box, the switch wasn't there, the cord wasn't there. And so when I met with them the other day when they were working on it, I said, we absolutely need that, because there'll be a time at some point that we'll have to go down there and run it manually. I don't know of anything right off the top of my head, but if we ever brought Cave Spring Days back or something and we needed to run those lights manually, we absolutely could once they put that switch. And I didn't go down there today to see if they put it in there yet, but they assured me they would. So.
Can I add something? Sure. The stoplight was initially we were told it was going to cost $3 million. And through the help of some individuals, I found a company that installed them, and we got it in for whatever our total cost was. But it was around $250,000, $300,000 is what they estimated when I talked to them. And we went with those, and then and Daniel, yeah. Part of the reason also was because of the fire station being located where it was at, or is at, because the fire trucks were having trouble getting out. They now have two buttons together, if I'm right, Chief? You can hit them both at the same time. One opens the door and the other stops the lights.
Well, it'll continue, it'll finish the cycle that it's on. After they hit the button, whatever cycle it's on, when it finishes, it automatically goes to give them a green light to dump out that westbound lane.
Right.
So they can go north or south, yeah.
But it was a safety feature
Sure.
for them and the public too.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a lot of misinformation floating around about the stoplight. RDOT did not install it. We had to install it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were clear about that all along.
Yes.
We stated, RDOT initially, every time we talked to them, they wanted us to go to their standards and do like it is. They kept saying they were not gonna install it. We brought this up when we were doing the approval of the resolutions, and they were not gonna install it because they were moving the traffic to a bypass. And then they were, if we wanted to do it, we could do it as long as we met all of their standards with turn lanes and green space and sidewalks and all of the things which Gravit's doing for about $3.5 million. And they kept telling me it would be that. And because of what Mike Middlecamp had found as far as the engineering side, and the fact that up here at Haxton Road, Rogers had put in a temporary. I asked for a temporary one without all those standards since the problem was now. And they did finally approve that. And that's what allowed us to go in and put in what Mr. Middlecamp had found with the engineers. And they partnered with our engineers to make things work efficiently. And it cost just, I think there was one change. It originally was going to be like $285,000, and there was one minor change they had to do, and it took it just over $300. But it's far less expensive than if we'd have followed the RDOT initial guidance.
You know, I believe, I mean, we didn't have very many accidents down there before the light. We had a lot of near misses and some road rage issues because of it. But the accidents we did have, they were pretty severe. I'm hoping the light, if there are accidents, which there will be, I mean, I can't say a light's going to fix everything because it's absolutely not going to. But I think the accidents will be way less severe. And so the likelihood of injury will be lessened. And that's the main thing for me.
Well, there's a lot of Facebook posts,
I don't read them,
but at any rate, people seem to think that the mayor caused all this. So if anyone gets the blame, it's me. Because I found this company, found it worked well. So let that fall on me. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question. Rivers,
Go.
our current noise ordinance, someone reached out and I just wanted some clarification on it. They're saying all hours of the day there's music blaring that they can hear inside their house from a different house. Would that fall under our noise ordinance, or is that something that?
Well, the noise ordinance has a specific time frame for amplified noise or music, unless it's coming from a vehicle. Vehicle has its own separate noise ordinance, but typically, 10:30 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Is when our noise ordinance that we can really enforce. But during the day, I think, and it's kind of open for interpretation, and unfortunately, most laws are, and it's who's ever reading it or writing it, it's open to their interpretation. So, it basically says, if it's going to annoy, disturb, quietness, comfort, You know, what is disturbing? What is the comfort? I mean, comfort for you is different than you, and so it's one of those deals that if it's a Saturday afternoon and they're swimming in the pool or whatever and they got stereo going, you know, we'll get called, we'll go, and we'll try to talk them to tell them to turn it down a little bit. You know, they're disrupting the neighbors, and most people are good about it. Though if push came to shove, I mean, we're kind of limited in what we can do.
Well, and then also you have to think about all the construction as well.
Well, that's a
In the
whole
neighborhood,
different
which is a different
ordinance.
aspect
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
ordinance.
I mean,
Police
so-
can't start until
Yeah, so what we had talked about was like music
Yes.
coming from the home. So yeah, construction's different. Red Dirt Farms got their own ordinance from years ago. Vehicles have their own ordinance. Like a vehicle, if we can hear it, technically 30 feet away, they're in violation. But every motorcycle that drives down the road, the Golden Wing that has a stereo, you can hear that forever. So, I mean, some common sense has to kick in at some point. But,
so when in doubt, maybe just call the non-emergency and ask.
yeah, we'll come out and, you know, if it's allowed, we'll talk to the neighbors, say, hey, turn it down. It's not the first time, it won't be the last time we've ever done that.
You can issue a ticket, right?
It just depends. You know, if it's after 10:30 at night, absolutely.
That's what I mean. If it's
Yeah.
Past the hours that
Yes.
ordinance is set up.
Now, you know, different cities have different laws when it comes to amplified noise, music, things like that. They have a decibel level, and depending on what zone you're in, whether it's residential, industrial, commercial, agricultural, it has different decibel levels at different times. That's a headache. That's a mess. I had to do it when I worked for Fayetteville PD because of Dixon Street. I absolutely hated going down there and getting decibel readings. I hated it. But you know, they still have that on the books down there, as far as I know. But you got to get a decibel reader, you got to get ambient noise reading, and then you got to have a policy dictating, okay, where do you take the noise meter reading from? Is it from the edge of the property of where the noise is coming from, or the complainant's property line closest to the noise? And then you got to get the reading, and then if they're in violation, we decide them. I mean, that's more definitive if that's what you're looking for. I don't like it, but I'm not going to say we won't do it. But
Well, I think maybe the resident should just maybe reach out to you. Or
yeah,
the police department
they can
for
absolutely call
clarification.
us, and we'll come out and assess it with common sense.
Okay, that's maybe one I'll reply. Thank you.
Yep. Is that it? You sure? Okay.
I want to make one thing clear. When I brought up that I found this company, it was not to bring light on me. I just wanted to know, people know that it was me that pushed this, not the mayor.
Oh.
So any comments, bad comments.
Send them to you?
Yes.
I can do that. No.
Next item on the agenda is March Planning Commission.
Good evening. Planning Commission met last week. We had a few items on the agenda we're working on. One is still the P4 commercial phase 3 and 4 down there at the Paycom property in Grandin Lane. We've talked about that in the past. Their site plan's looking good. They've got a few things they're still working on, but everything's progressing fairly well on it. No major issues. Potential rezoning that y'all might see. There's one at Ford Meadows. That's what it's being called. It's property located at 854 Lane. Part of it actually goes all the way down into spur off of Brown, 77 acres. They're proposing to rezone all of that to R3. And then we've got a variance for the Weir property. This was property that is on Rainbow Road. It was approximately 40 acres, 2 different parcels of roughly 20. They had the large like Blue Line Stream, lots of like waterway issues and stuff like that that are affecting like their development plans. And they're asking for variance from their lot depths so they can actually provide the connectivity. There's actually 3 stub outs that are existing on the eastern boundary line of the city, one into Rogers, and they're wanting to try and align like 2 entrances from Cave Springs from Rainbow with those, and to get the lot depths and everything, they were asking for a variance. So those were the only kind of, action items, and then we're still working on the zoning code. We actually took an update to the planning commission at the last meeting, started looking at kind of some matrix items and new zoning names, like keeping some of the R's, and then looking at implementing some of the allowed by right, like mixed use, commercial, things like that, that we've struggled with in the past, and we've had a lot of PZDs ask for this. So, looking at how we're going to implement some of those things. The only other things, general updates, still working on the zoning code. We did have the legacy project team in last week that was here looking at the watershed property and some of the city's property and other parcels like in town. Had some real good meetings with them. They're looking at creating kind of a development plan for like the watershed property, some of their outlying lands that are on like the main streets and stuff like that. And then potentially looking at honing in on our property over here where we're talking about potentially having a new city hall in the downtown master plan that we worked on. So kind of honing in on that, and then some street sections as far as downtown, on-street parking, connectivity, crossing, those kind of safety issues. So, but there's no action items for y'all this month, so that's all I have if y'all do not have any other questions.
This Ford Meadows though, and this would be its 3rd time that property has been before planning commission, correct? Because it was zoned for 1 acre lots and then 0.6 acre lots, and now they're trying to go down to an R3.
This would be the 3rd time that section has come before. There is an additional piece of land that was bought, and it has not been before anybody before.
Okay, well that area already, we are already the most residentially dense over there. We've got the Weir's property, and now we have the turkey houses, we have Hillcrest going on. And then this, I was so excited when it came to us as 1 acre lots. And if the council remembers, I'm the only person that voted against 0.6 acre lots, but now it's going down to an R3. This council member is not in favor of that due to we have no way to upgrade the land between Brentwood and the church there, Lakeview. There's no way to upgrade. So people are going to get impatient, much like they did with our light that was, that was on the timer. Cut through shores and everywhere else. So they're going to be flying through Hillcrest, they're going to be flying through Brentwood, which they are city streets and they can do. But we already need a stoplight there, in my opinion. And that is not even having Hillcrest fully developed. The turkey house is fully developed. I am not in favor of this property. I was so excited that it was 1 acre lots, 0.6 acres. I voted against. I'm not in favor of an R3. It's too many people, too dense. We're never going to get on 264. And there's no way to improve where we need to improve. Yes, we're getting a turn lane because of the property there on the corner of 264 and Ford with the townhomes. Yes, we'll get a right-hand turn lane, but that doesn't solve anything with all this traffic coming out on 264 from on Rainbow, Brentwood, and Ford. Those are just my thoughts and my comments on that. But it's still at planning. What did I couldn't hear the planning commission meeting. I tried to listen. What did they say about that? The density, was that a concern?
I mean, the density is not a concern as far as fitting in with everything else there, no. I think the concern was just potential future upgrades to a Ford lane and, getting it fixed up where it's actually operating like a true collector.
But you can't upgrade between Lakeview and Brentwood, and that would be the major upgrade to have it, left-hand turn lane, straight lane, and a right-hand turn lane. There's no way to upgrade that between the church and Brentwood or Hillcrest and this new other development. Granted, they are gonna have 2 turnoffs like we talked about for the turkey houses, but there's no way to upgrade to support R3 there with everything else we have approved as a council.
Well, I mean, they are upgrading part of it with the turn lane potentially.
The turn lane, right, but that's just one turn lane, and you're already putting in, what is the turkey, where the turkey houses are, that's 93 more homes. Hillcrest isn't fully developed, how many homes is that? Probably almost 100.
It's, yeah, like,
And then Brentwood has what, 150? And then we're looking at the Weir's property across the street on Rainbow. We're looking at Ridgewood already being there. It's already hard enough to turn out on Ford, either which way or Rainbow, the way it is. So it's going to create a mess for neighborhoods and cut-throughs as well. So those are just my concerns. I'm not in favor of it because they came back. They had 1 acre lots, 0.6 acre lots, and now they want to bump it down. They know what they bought.
What is the reasoning for reducing, going down to R3?
well, they bought the piece of land that's in front of the previously rezoned property. And so it's a larger piece altogether, so they're just looking at making it all one connected subdivision, essentially, and trying to keep the lots in line with what's already existing there. Instead of having some at the back that are one size and some at the front potentially one size, they're just looking at requesting R3 for all of it and making one conducive subdivision. And they'll have a connection down to Brown Road also off of it.
The Brown Road isn't anything special to drive on either, to support that kind of R3.
Well, no,
So you're looking
there's,
at Brown
I think they have
Road.
like 4 potential connectivities out, but, you know, then that doesn't include all their internal roads, so. But, I mean, none of that has anything to do with the rezoning. And we don't have, you know, full site plans yet. I mean, that'll happen later on. Anything else? Okay.
Thank you. Next is our water and sewer department report.
Hello, everyone. So we can start with the open work orders. As you can see, it's jumped up quite a bit from last month. So we've got a leak detection program in place now. I was trained by Jeff Kofeld, and I've trained my guys how to use the ground microphone to detect leaks. We had done it in the past, but we weren't as dialed in as we needed to be as far as what we were listening for, and we found a lot of success by actually going to the meter, the setter, and listening there. So we've fixed, 15 leaks from last month, and now we have 22 that are open. And as you can see, 19 of them are long-side service lines, so they're going to require a bore. And that's because the service lines that are leaking were not sleeved, so there was no outer pipe to protect it, and cars are driving over it all day. So the water loss report, we're down to 53. Still a high number, but we lost 5 million gallons less than we did last month. We sold about 1.5 million more. And you can see down there on the bottom right the leaks that we repaired in that month. So
Yeah, that's a big improvement.
yes, yeah, we were happy with that. I mean, obviously there's a lot more work to do, just based on our open work orders, but it's better than it going up.
Big time. I mean, that's a big decrease. This time of year, though, the weather's kind of on our side a little bit, right? We don't get the heat kind of makes more.
Well,
it's in the cold, too.
typically in the winter it actually goes up because there's less usage. So it was especially nice to see it go down in the colder months.
No, but I mean, in the spring months is kind of a sweet spot. We get a little bit
Yeah.
break from new leaks, but
Yeah, in the summer when everyone's
still a lot of really good progress. I just wanted to note that. It's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Anyone? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Will.
Next is engineers report, and they they're all going on spring break this week, so we won't have an engineer's report. Next is the attorney's report. Did Justin send anything with you?
Yeah, I said he also, he recognizes being on spring break.
Yes, he is.
Report next month.
All right. Clerk's report. And I don't have a report, so public comments. Anyone?
My name is Peter Smith. I live over in Brentwood. You guys have seen me up here multiple times. Just wanted to bring my face back up here again. I know it's been quiet since we've gone through the fall, the winter, now into the spring. My concern obviously goes back to the drainage issue. I did see on the topics that was going to be addressed, but the engineer is not here. So this is me just putting this back on everybody's radar. I know we haven't had a lot of significant rain or significant flooding in recent time, but we're coming off of last year where we had, again, epic amount of rainfall. So I don't know kind of what the status is. I know we had talked about it. I know a lot of folks had come up during the last time whenever we had that severe rainfall, a lot of flooding. Our backyard specifically, we had 1, 2, 3 of our fences get knocked over that we've had to repair. Because we're not in a floodplain, we can't get insurance on that. So every time that we have severe rain like that and the floodwaters come over from Lowell into our backyard, we have to repair our fences out of pocket. It pulls out of our flower beds, does a lot of damage. And I know a lot of other folks that had come up during the last flood have been dealing with it for several years and also has severe damage that come when that flood hits. So this is me just raising that back up again. But I don't know, has there been any further developments that we're aware of?
I know that Justin sent an email to the council this morning letting us know that he wasn't going to be here. Said that he met with them last week. They're still working on the changes, and that I'll have an update for you at the April work session or regular meeting on this topic.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I'll put it all up.
So I had heard that there were rumblings that Lowell was finally going to get up and actually help do some action to try to divert, to do something. Is that the case? I mean, and again, this is an engineer question, but from the city council, the mayor's knowledge, is that the case of where we're heading? Do we think that Lowell's going to help us out to divert the rainfall that is coming through their city and into our neighborhood?
I've heard that when they put the roundabout down at the end of Mount Hebron, which our engineers are working on, that they plan to take some of that crest out of the hill.
Okay.
And when they do that, they plan on draining the north side to the ditch to the Mount Hebron side. And I don't know what that all looks like or when, but I have heard that is in the works.
Okay. I'll plan on listening in or coming in during the next session when the engineer's here, and I can have a more direct conversation with him. But again, this is me just re-putting those concerns back onto the radar because we are getting back into the rainy months. Last thing that any of us want, especially in our neighborhood, is those floodwaters coming roaring through. Hopefully we don't have another 100-year, 500-year flood again like we've had multiple times. So, just keeping us up there. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi. For the sake of having my name, this is MC Chisels. I'm from 150 Bright Street. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm here just to bring to the council attention that on my house, 150 Bright Road, where I put the gravel, I've discussed it with Mr. Mayor. I discussed it with Erica. Mike's been there. It's really bad. It needs to be fixed. And I know that drainage, we talked about it for years. Now that I'm not on the council, I feel like I can push it more and ask for it. And I'm hoping we get some timeline on these because I don't want to continue saying, okay, we're going to get it, and then do we have any timeline? Or I was hoping Daniel was here that could kind of give us some idea, but obviously is not here.
I know he's actively working on getting the details and the specifications. We do plan on knocking that one side out of that bowl area in front of the drain, and he was looking into what would be necessary with that being a core creek, whether we can just go in and remove gravel and debris, or whether there has to be some permitting or whatever, but he's worked with them on permitting before. That is in the plans.
Okay, so
Beyond that, I don't, and if he were here, we might be able to tell a little more where he is on the project. I don't have a timeline yet.
of course the gravel and that they put in there. On a different subject, I just want to, honestly, I'm not here to criticize anybody. I just want to bring this to the attention of council and the planning. I think we do have to have a process in place. If we're closing alleyway or easement to anybody for any reason, it needs to be double checked, because just applicant put in the description, I get it, that it's responsibility of them, but if they put the wrong description, if we don't have a process in place to find that out before it goes to the county, and accidentally we close somebody else's right away or create issue, I don't know what, I mean, there should be some software or something that city, again, it's not to blame anybody, I'm just trying to put a process in place that later on we don't have anybody, we close somebody's driveway and 5 years down the road they're gonna sell their house, they found out there's an easement on it. It's just a good thing to double check everything. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, we'll go ahead, and the follow-up is on the drainage. That, again, we did meet last week. We are working on the drainage manual and those changes that we had discussed prior, and we are making progress, but that's not complete yet. That's what Justin was referring to.
I have a question then. Did
Sure.
you, on Fairway Valley, the streets there, did you find out anything on that? Or is that still a process?
It does appear based on, and that was in the meeting as well, and Justin and the engineer was discussing it as well, and they can't find anything that shows it was dedicated to us. We got suspicions on why, but that's all they are, so I just soon not voice suspicions that may not be accurate. But
if they're not ours.
They're not ours, it doesn't look like they're doing a little more to confirm, but it appears at this point that they kept those streets as private streets.
So then that would fall under the POA.
Yeah.
And they're.
Or not, maybe not the POA, they don't show owned by them, they show owned by 3 different entities that were part of the development group. So it may be those 3 companies.
So we'll get more clarification on that, but if they're not our streets, we shouldn't maintain them, correct?
Right, and we won't.
Okay. And you'll bring that
Yeah.
more information
Yeah.
at the work session?
One more thing on MC's comments. I'd like to, further research on this, app or whatever it is that we can get that will look at a description and tell us if it's correct or not.
I'm working on the research on that to determine what all is available and what the pricing is.
Well, with that, don't you think that we should have an ordinance or a resolution stating the process?
Yeah.
That'll be part of it, and we have a software that will be a part of the process.
So do you think it would be fair to say at the May meeting you could vote on that?
That what?
At the May meeting that we could vote on that? That would give a little over a month and a half worth of research?
That
2 months?
should be doable.
So. Okay, so you give an update at the work session in April?
Yeah, we'll discuss it then. Okay, next item is the resolution to amend the 2025 budget and closing out the year, and that the resolution is 2020.
This number.
That's the sewer.
Correct.
Yeah, it's had no piece here.
Yeah. Your revenue.
Revenue versus expenditure.
Oh, we dropped to one. We need to amend the sewer expenditure to 991,000, not 99.
The expenditure.
Thank you for catching that. So do I hear a motion to approve with that amendment?
I'll move to approve the amendment.
Okay, I've got a motion from Mark. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a second by Jeremy. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, like sign. And it did pass. Is that 2026-13?
Yes.
So the one we passed last meeting was 12?
Was 12, yes. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the resolution to amend the 2026 budget and adopt an updated site development inspector job description for the city of Cave Springs. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chris. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? And that passed. That will be 14. Next item on the agenda is the ordinance to amend ordinance 2015-08, dividing currently combined office of city clerk, treasurer, into two separate offices, city clerk and a separate individual city treasurer. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading by title only?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mike Middlecamp. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Erica. Any roll call.
Erica. Yes. Jeremy.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Okay. And I'll read the title. It is an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2015-08, and, well, it's ordinance number 2026-03. City of Cave Springs, Benton County, Arkansas, an ordinance to amend ordinance number 2015-08 and dividing the current combined office of city clerk and treasurer into two separate offices of city clerk and a separate individual city treasurer, defining the duties for the separate office of the clerk and for the office of the treasurer, to allow for the treasurer position to be appointed, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Got a motion by Mark. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? Roll call.
Jeremy.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Erica. Yes.
That was approved. Next item on the agenda is, oh yes, do I hear a motion to approve the emergency clause?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mike Middlecamp. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. And go ahead and roll call.
Mike.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Erica. Yes. Jeremy.
Yes.
that's approved. Next item is an ordinance to amend chapter 30, mayor and city council municipal code. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third reading?
I make a motion to table this.
Okay, we got a motion to table by Mike Milkamp. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. All in, or roll call.
Yes. Chris?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Erica? Yes. Jeremy?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that one is covered. Is there anything else that you would like to bring before the council tonight?
I just like to,
Go ahead.
We are not annexing in any new land. There's been some confusion on Facebook posts. That is an old annexation of Scissortail, and there were 2 council members that voted against it. That was myself and MC, and the rest that were here, and the mayor voted, and so that was approved back in, what year was that, Mayor?
Yeah, that was in June of 2024.
2024, so there's no annexations in front of us as a city. Just wanted to make that clarification for those that were confused.
Anything else? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We've got a motion by Mark. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeremy. All in favor?